very special guest. Her name is Lesley-Ann Brandt. You guys may know her from the series, the Netflix series Lucifer. She's going to be joining us a little later, but before we get into that, I want to pass it to my co-host, and we'll talk about what we're drinking on. This is the wine up, so I have yet again. It's summertime. It's a little breezy today, but I still got my Moscato. So Old Faithful is coming through. I'll pass it to my left, Rocky.
Hey, hey, it's Rocky. I am sipping on something light today as well. This is margarita in a glass, ready-made margarita. So it's pretty good. Cheers. And I'll pass it to Kristen.
Hey, ladies. I am rocking a little bit of rosé. Actually, a lot of rosé. It's been one of those days.
Right, you see mine is full, so I'm like, yeah.
Wait, and I got the bottle ready just in case, because anyway, I'm passing it to my girl Latrice. What you drinking on?
So yeah, we are having one of those days. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like last week. Strawberries and all.
I want to know what your little bit of this and a little bit of that is, Patrice. I think I need some of that.
Man.
It's a little bit of Ciroc and pink lemonade with strawberries in it.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounds really flirty and sweet and something that I want.
A little bit, just a little bit.
So while we wait for Leslie, we did have a tragic loss over the weekend. I was actually out at a restaurant when the notification came through, and it kind of jarred me a little bit. I was like, oh, like,
Yep.
it just kind of shook you and brought you back to reality in terms of how short life is. And if you guys haven't heard, I don't even want to tear up right now. Just having one of those days, right? So if you haven't heard, somebody help me out because I'm over here crying.
Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. Like you, Portia, I was eating when the alert popped up my phone, and at first you know how you see something and you want to unsee it. And then 2-3 more alerts popped through. And like you, I was jarred. I literally had to get up from the table. And yeah, so rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda forever. He was 43.
Young.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Super young, 43. And when you think about your heroes, your legends, of course, he played in Black Panther, and he was immortalized as the Black Panther. You just think that they won't die. Legends never die, but it just put it into perspective because he was only 43.
Not only he was 43, he kept it private. Like none of us knew. We just seen pictures
and
of
he
him.
delivered movies in the midst of his battle.
Right. Yeah. I think they said he made about 7 movies, and 2 are coming out posthumous. So his legacy is indelible. Like that's hidden here for real. So many people he's touched.
Yeah, I think it's a blow to fans, but it's a blow to Black people, period.
Right.
Like, I feel like when you see him on screen, like, we all felt like we were a part of Wakanda. And, while he wasn't a ruler over us, we felt like Chadwick Boseman was our king. Like, and just hearing stories from people that knew him from Howard, and just, I mean, of course, the celebrity and some of his co-stars have shared just their fondest memories. But this man literally had an amazing career. He brought to life James Brown's story. He brought to life
Thurgood Marshall,
Jackie Robinson,
Jackie Robinson.
It's like, and he had a short career. Like, he wasn't doing this since childhood. Like, he brought all of these powerful characters to life. I think the only solace that I have is hopefully he's in heaven, and he's seeing these people, and
and he's definitely been an inspiration for generations, because children are like, and definitely a blow for Black people, but children of other ethnicities and races were posting pictures of their Black Panther figurine collections. And just, as you said, so many people, Ryan Coogler, his statement, About
I didn't
how,
hear his statement. What was his statement?
Oh my gosh, he was just talking about how he inherited the casting of Chadwick, and how as soon as they met, how he saw the devotion Chadwick had, how Chadwick came to the casting of some of the supporting actors. He said that's not something main actors usually do, how he was so invested in the process, and how he himself, Ryan Coogler, sometimes he would be doubtful about how effective Black Panther was going to be, but that Chadwick was just like, go, let's go, go, go. And he was just an inspiration. So though he's not here, you know, in the physical form, he's definitely left a legacy. And that's just astounding.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
So I know you guys have seen all of the pictures that are going around on social media. All of the children are in mourning, like Rocky said. Children are literally having funerals for Chadwick Boseman. And so it's just an incredible loss. We thank him for the gifts that he gave, that he left. Like I said, he gave us Wakanda Forever, James Brown and Get Up, Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall. The list can go on and on. The Five Bloods with
that latest one, Spike Lee, and that was really good. If you all get a chance, check
it was
out the
really
Five Bloods.
good.
That was
absolutely
really good with Delroy Lindo and Clark Peters. Really good. So
we do have our guest here. I know she wants to chime in about Chadwick Boseman, the loss of Chadwick Boseman. She did put she posted something on her Instagram about him, and just like me, she said that she let out an awful, and you know, it was just shocking and jarring. But we definitely want to welcome to the show Lesley-Ann Brandt. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome.
Look how beautiful you guys are.
Oh,
thank you.
Oh,
Likewise.
Thank you. Absolutely. You too.
You got the natural beauty going on. Fresh out the shower. Love it.
Glow.
Gorgeous.
A glow. So we were just talking about the passing of Chadwick Boseman. I was commenting on your Instagram post. You said you let out an audible gasp about the tragic passing, and you were speaking of the joy that it brought you when you heard the native language. Is it Xhosa? How do you pronounce it?
Xhosa. Xhosa.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is one of our official 11 languages in South Africa. And I don't speak isiXhosa. I speak like another language. But for me, it was so, I saw it when I went to the ArcLight with my cousin who was visiting from South Africa. And I remember just feeling so much pride because you had all these beautiful shades of black, you know, and it so reminded me of the African continent, you know, obviously, the beauty that I grew up seeing and hearing one of my country's languages. And I just remember just feeling like whenever I see South Africa on display on like an international platform like that, and of course, John Carney and his son who is in there, who's obviously they're like amazing South African actors. So and then reading Ryan Coogler's letter this morning and saying that like all of that was Chadwick's idea, was to have Xhosa be part of that, was going to be the language. I was like, oh my gosh, do you even know? And I'm sure he did, obviously, in the last few years, but like what that means to little, you know, South African boys and girls, like what that means to a country, what that means to like to see that represented in that way. I still am, like, we watched Black Panther last night and I cried. Of course you do.
I know. Yeah. You were grabbing. It's been one of those days for me, and I got a little teary eyed just even bringing it up because, like I said, he was so young. He gave us so much in such a short amount of time, and he was just so inspirational. So we definitely applaud him for everything that he's done, everything that he's given, the gifts that he's given. He's immortal right now,
and all the images of the little kids having, you know, many. I'm a mother, so I was, of course, that just like pulled at my heartstrings again, you know.
Absolutely.
That's just so sad.
Well, let's get into the wine up with you. Let's just kind of take it up a notch. Of course, it's the wine up, so hopefully you have something that you're winding up on.
Oh my gosh. I just actually left. You know what? I'm going to text my girlfriend to bring my wine. I just left it outside.
Wonderful. Okay. And so if you guys don't know who we're talking to Lesley-Ann Brandt, the beloved and fan favorite character, Mozzie King. Is it Mozzie King? I know it's Maze, but is it Mozzie King? Mozzie King. Okay. On Netflix global hit series Lucifer. So welcome to the show. You are definitely a fan favorite. Sassy, badass, kick-ass, sarcastic, sexy, all of that, right? But you were just talking about you were born in South Africa. You moved to Auckland, New Zealand, and that's where you were discovered for your acting. That's where you landed your breakout role as Nivea in the Starz hit Spartacus, right?
Yes.
You're starring in Lucifer now.
Yes.
So tell us, how did you land that role in Lucifer?
I auditioned like everyone else, you know. I was on that hamster wheel that actors go through with pilot season, where you're just trying to book that job, girl, and you're trying to like pay those bills. And, you know, I was not, I came here 10 years ago with dreams and, you know, enough money for my rent for 3 months. And it was like, plan A, you make it, plan B, you make it. You have no other.
Right.
Yeah, my parents are, you know, middle class, they're not wealthy. There's no plan B for me in that sense, put it that way. So, yeah, I just auditioned, and I actually wasn't originally cast for the role. They had another actress. I was up for 2 other TV shows. So in 1 week, I sort of had 3 shows that wanted me potentially, and I had to test, which is what we do, where we go in front of the network in the studio. And I didn't get all 3, and it was an awful week. It was basically, what more do I have to do? You know, and 2 weeks after that, I guess they had a table read, and the actress didn't work out for whatever reason, and they reinstated my deal, and the rest is history, as they say.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I will pass it to my co-host, Rocky.
Okay, well, welcome, Leslie. Welcome. So, love Maze. I want to talk a little bit about, give me a moment, I'm still kind of trying to get back into transitioning a little bit here, but I want to talk about Maze, as far as what's next for her, and what do you tap into as a mother? Because being a mom and being Maze, you are, I love how badass you are, but I love how endearing you are with your children. I've seen, and as a mom myself, I know how we can just flip the script. So talk about what mode do you go into to be badass Mazikeen? Amazing King. Am I pronouncing
Mazikeen? That's the South African
short.
Girl. That's the Cape Town girl. That's like, you do not even come for us.
That's
like,
natural.
We will shank you and watch you bleed out. Like,
I love it. You sound like a D girl. You sound like a girl from Detroit.
No, it's true. But you know, listen, I definitely I pull from my upbringing, my culture. We are raised tough. South African girls are tough. You have to be where I'm from. And you know, the physicality of her, I've always had, in the sense that I've always been very athletic, and I pick up sort of choreography and stunts very quickly. So I get very physically involved in my character as well. But I think that's where I work out, like Maze has taught me a lot. Like, I work out a lot of my frustration with what's going on in the world, with life. Like, I get to put it in those scenes, but I really approach her kind of like an immigrant, honestly, for me. She's an immigrant from hell. I was an immigrant from South Africa. So it's like trying to fit in, trying to figure out a new culture in a new country, trying to understand. When I moved to New Zealand, people couldn't understand my accent. It was a lot thicker than this, not getting my sense of humor, not understanding the music I was into. I mean, we were very influenced by, America, of course, and hip hop and R&B. So it was like trying to find my tribe. And it was a challenge, much like Maze. My son calls me when he sees me on TV. He doesn't watch Lucifer, but he's seen little snippets here and then. He calls me Mama Maze. So he knows that that's Mama Maze. And, but to him, I'm just Mama. Do you know what I mean? So it's, I guess I don't know, it's your children. So I try and teach him to be, to have that South African kind of, and he does, he has a lot of my sense of humor, and he is a very physical little boy. At the same time, like Mace, he's very sensitive too. But yeah, it's sometimes I remember actually one scene where I was doing a really bloody fight and I was covered in blood, and I FaceTime my husband whenever I'm working, and my son happened to be covered in beetroot because he was, and we have the screen grab because he just thinks I'm eating beetroot the way he's having his food. Yeah.
Okay, pass the ball. We'll pass it to Kristen next.
Okay. Well, hi, Lesley. Thank you so much for joining us. I would love to hear more about just your journey to, your career today. So if you could share just a little bit more about your journey, coming from South Africa, and then also what sort of advice would you give to your younger self, if you could?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I left South Africa basically 2 weeks after I graduated high school. Very tough age to immigrate because you are saying goodbye to literally, everything your friends. I remember being at the airport and all my besties were like crying in a circle. And I didn't know sort of what I wanted to do in life. I wasn't one of those children that had this goal, like I'm going to go and do this. I was always just somehow opportunities always presented itself to me. And it took me a minute, like I said, in New Zealand to like find my tribe and find the people and my girlfriends. And in that, I started modeling, and I was doing commercials, and I had a casting director pull me aside one day, and she just said to me, you should really take this seriously. Like you could do this for a living. And I was like, okay. So I tried to do it, and it was, I did classes, and I was sort of trying to actively do it full time. But New Zealand is a much smaller country, 4 million people. Obviously, the industry is a lot smaller. The amount of opportunities for people who look like me, limited. And I went, to, I tried it I went to classes, like I said, and I auditioned, and I did that for about 6 months, but it was really hard. So I was like, okay, I need to work. I need to earn money. So I went to a recruitment consultant agency, and, to basically submit my CV, and they, my resume, as you guys say here. And they said, well, we like you, so would you like to come and work for us in IT recruitment consulting? So that's what I did. I was an IT recruitment consultant. I could hire you an SAP analyst and a data analyst. And in the process of working at that job, which I was good at, but I was not fulfilled in any way, I auditioned for a half-hour comedy, and I got it. And I was one of the leads. And then my second job was Spartacus. So I really learned what I learned on set. And it's sort of that, like, I don't know, South African blind confidence, where it's like, teach me, I'll learn, I can do it. I'll put my hand up. If I fall on my face, it's fine. Like, I'll get back up. I'll try it again. That was kind of always been my push, And then in the second year of that show, I actually did something quite big, and I left the show because I had a work visa for America, and that was the golden ticket if you are an immigrant, because it means you can legally work for any studio. And so I decided to take the big leap of leaving a show, and I came here, and I met my Lucifer producers when they cast me opposite Hill Harper on CSI in a recurring role. And then a few years later, it comes full circle when you're auditioning for them on Lucifer. So it's kind of been a very unconventional journey in that sense. One I'm grateful for, and the advice I would give myself is it's going to be okay. Don't freak out.
Eventually.
Like, I went 4 years without seeing my parents because I couldn't afford to fly back, you know, and I was sending them money to like help them out as well. And that was such a sacrifice for me. And I remember there were days that was just very hard. I missed them so much. You're forever tethered to your family and your parents, you know, especially when they are so far away. So I would tell myself, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. You got this.
That's some great advice.
And look at you today.
Yeah, a lot of times we like to rush the process, and you know, we suffer from anxiety, we have breakdowns and all of that. But that's some great advice to tell your younger self. Just, you know, it all work out, and in the end, it does.
Yeah, and I think too, it's also like there's such an expectation sometimes on parents for their kids to have it all figured out, like at high school. I'm like, I didn't know that I didn't know that a girl from Cape Town could have this life. That was not, I was born in 81 during apartheid. Like, I went to segregated schools. Like, this was not an option for me when I was younger. So to have that kind of pressure as a young person, I think it's a lot of weight to carry. And I don't have a university degree. I have a high school diploma. You know, my journey was different. You know, I was academic in other ways, if that makes sense. And my parents couldn't afford university for me when I went to New Zealand, so there was that as well. Life dealt me cards, and I sort of had to figure out how to achieve what I wanted to within what I had. But never not believing that I could do it, you know. And I really credit my father to that, because he really raised a strong girl who, he said, you can do anything a boy can do, and you can do it well. So thanks, Daddy.
I love you.
I love it.
So Latrice is another co-host. Latrice, you have a question for Lesley.
Hello, Lesley.
Hi.
Hi. So playing as like a sexy role, Maze, and you wearing like body suits, whatever. What is your everyday style like? Everyday getting up? Is it sexy? Is it casual? I know you're a mother, but mothers have to be chic as well. So what is your everyday style like?
It's chic casual. It's basically like what will look cute while also being very practical with a 3-year-old.
Right.
I will say this has also changed in, you know, COVID quarantine, stay at home. I mean, I look at my heels and I go, oh, friends, will we ever go out on the town again?
Same here.
But it's very, you know, I have a lot of input in Maze's wardrobe. I work with a costume designer. I design stuff. I'm always online looking at stuff, putting stuff together. You know, the episode 4, we were going with an Ella Fitzgerald, Eartha Kitt, Billie Holiday like vibe. We wanted to give her that sort of overall look and feel. And I throw back to a little bit of Grace Jones and Shaka Khan in the second half of the season. So I'm like trying to pull references from these beautiful, like, strong Black women to give I feel like Maze always has her own sense of style, and it reflects what she's going through. If she's at the bar, it's like otherworldly and if she's bounty hunting, it's a little bit more practical, you know, not stiletto heels chasing down bad guys, because that's not real life. But yeah, my style is probably like a little casual chic. If the sneakers are going to be cool if I'm wearing sneakers, put it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. So let's get into this training, right? So we see Maze always kicking ass. How do you train for that? Like, what does that consist of? And do you do your own stunts?
I do about 99% of my stunts.
Okay.
I like to, because it gives the director more usable footage. Yeah. If it's my face wiping through frame. But I work with a trainer, Paolo Machetti, my my Italian stallion, as I call him, and he's just he's amazing because he's able to look at, he's very good with women, and if it's like, strength conditioning, that kind of stuff to build up stamina, because it's take after take after take after take when you're doing that kind, stunts. But again, having a 3-year-old running around, that is a workout. Let me tell you that, for sure. The mothers out there will totally, absolutely 100% agree with me. And I am vegan too. So, I live a pretty like healthy, and not saying if you're not vegan, it's not healthy, but for me, I just found that was better for my body. It meant I didn't have to work out as hard, to be honest with you. But it's the stunt part is fun. It's a lot of fun for me.
Looks like
the physical, like beating up boys. Yes, bring it. Let's go.
Like but it looks like it's just strenuous. Like you like you said, you got to keep up your stamina. So we're gonna definitely have to look up your trainer. What's his name again? So I
Italian stallion.
Paolo. He'll see him on my Instagram. He trains myself, Tom, Kevin, and Rachel. So he's kind of like everyone on the cast is basically with him.
Okay, wonderful. And before I pass the ball back to Rocky, I just want to shout out Baslurka. She is in the audience and she wants to say hello to you. She says you are a great actress and she admires what you do. You're wonderful and greetings from Poland.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's
all the way from Poland.
She's from Poland. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to toss the ball over to Rocky.
Wow, we've got people watching from all over the world. I see people
from
Greece as well. I love it. Welcome, everyone. So, Leslie, I wanted to get back, and I love how when actors represent their roots. I love how you represent your South African heritage. And I see you've done some collaborations with other South African celebrities. Shout out to Pearl, is it Tusi? From Queen Sono. Love her in that series. Her. Also, shout out to Miss Universe,
Zozi.
Yeah, Zozi. Thank you. Thank you for helping with me the pronunciations. But I love how you're using your platform to put out here what's happening in your native South Africa. So talk a little bit about that, like why you guys decided to do that. And some of those issues, and actually some of the issues you spoke about as far as the treatment of women, that's like a worldwide issue. But speak about like using your platform to shine the light on what's happening in South Africa.
Well, I feel like, I don't know how the people feel, but I've always felt a sense of my mother and my parents always raised me to, if you have a voice, use it. If you have a platform, use it. And obviously within the age of social media and, fandoms and how popular the show is worldwide, you really have the opportunity to spread a message very far. South Africans, we don't have as many people in our industry as, role models. And when you see someone like Zozi, we don't have as many people in our industry as role models, like compared to, America, for example, with a huge Hollywood, with the industry here. But when you look at someone like Zozi, who's on an international stage and she is Miss Universe, right? And it's the celebration of like beauty from Africa, from South Africa specifically. When you look at Pearl, and it's the first scripted African, show for Netflix South Africa, and it is received so well by the world. Well, that validates that like our stories matter, like our people can also share their points of view with the world, and it will resonate with you. You will take something away from that. So we came together. August is Women's Month in South Africa. And really I wanted to share, my work with a project, organization I work with called Earth Child Project, which works in 2 townships, Khayelitsha and Lavender Hill. They service 8 schools, and they provide just an incredible program for children who are dealing with gang violence, who are dealing with, parents who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, living in poverty, using yoga, meditation, teaching them how to grow their food, allowing them a safe space to talk about some of the issues in their life. And when they see someone, I grew up like 15 minutes from one of those neighborhoods. I'm like, I could easily have been that kid. Had life dealt me a different card, had I had parents addicted to drugs, had my parents had a different, had they taken a different path in life. So I always see myself reflected when I see those kids. And I'm forever tethered to South Africa and to my community in that way. We have some of the worst statistics for gender-based violence. I mean, I think in August last year, it was something like 19 women were murdered just in the month of August alone during Women's Month. And it was, I don't know if it's this month, this past Women's Month, but women are raped and killed at disproportionate rates in South Africa. And every year we talk about the issue, and every year there's a big uprising, but I'm like, what is happening? So, Zosie and I were talking about what we can do, come together, like, because I think it starts with the education with our children and young boys, seeing the value and the worth of little girls and knowing how to speak to little girls, knowing how to speak to women, because most boys start that sort of violent sexual behavior in South Africa in their teens, and it progresses to when they are adults, when they get married. And if we have some kind of input at a school level where we're talking about consent, where we're teaching boys what that means, and that no is a full sentence, that rape within marriage happens and it's not okay, that women are to be believed, that women have worth, that women have a voice and should be used. Those when young girls are empowered in that way, I think it just gives them an opportunity to achieve the things that they want to achieve. And it's important if I can help, that I do help, So we are Zosie and I are trying to figure out behind the scenes, and I will have a conversation with Paul too about what we can do on like a big, because we do have this platform. How do we actually like do something? It's fine to post about it, it's fine to talk about it, but like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. Kristen.
So Lesley, I know we talked about just your experience from Spartacus, Gotham. You're no stranger to just being action packed. You know how to throw around some things, some people. I had a question about, as far as like, if you had a chance, an opportunity to play a DC or a Marvel superhero, who would you want to play and why?
Ooh, people ask me this all the time, and I don't know. I actually had a conversation with my manager, and I was like, we need to find someone that like hasn't been brought to screen yet, like a character that is on the outskirts, because I feel like everyone's like really wants to get into Storm, or really wants to, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I'm not sure actually. And will be totally brutally honest. I work on a comic book show, but I did not grow up in the comic book world. Like, we did not have comic books. We were dealing with some other shit, like some real life.
Some real life.
We were trying to be our own superheroes just to survive,
That's funny.
So I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. But I do think that, like, obviously I'm from Africa. I'm from South Africa, so I used to say Wakanda, but that's like something within, Black Panther, but that just obviously doesn't feel right to say in this moment. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that, Kristen.
Okay. It's fair.
That's fair.
Let's go to a fun question.
Yeah, fun.
For like TV shows, reality shows that you are watching right now.
Oh, reality. What was the show with oh my gosh, Need for Speed? That's her handle. What was it?
Lauren Speed.
Yes.
Love is Blind.
Yes.
Yes.
I was late on the Love is Blind train, but oh my goodness, I was rooting for her the whole time. I mean, kind of crazy, the concept of the show, we're sitting there going, wait, are these people like seriously going to get married? I mean, like my husband and I like had questions. Look at
and they got married, didn't they?
They got married, and they still married.
Happily married. Yeah.
I know, and I was so happy because like out of everyone, they had this like really genuine connection. And I also think I'm in an interracial like marriage. I thought too, like her dad was the most hilarious, but like to the point father. He's like, what you know about Black people?
Basically, yes.
That's a test. That's a test.
Daddy ain't play. Daddy ain't play.
No. That show I really loved. I just finished May I Destroy You, which is a little bit heavier, of course. Not a reality show, but on HBO, and I'm such a huge Michaela Cohen fan. Like Love is Blind was the most recent one that I finished.
I'm gonna have to catch up on Love is Blind.
You have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up on it. Absolutely.
It's wild.
Now,
it's wild.
I'm hearing. Now you let's talk about some of the lessons that you learned playing Maze, and what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned, and how do you guys mirror each other? Because you sound like your South African roots, like I'll shank you, I was already a badass. And so it's not like you just added to the Maze character, but what are some of the biggest lessons that you learned playing your character?
What she taught me more recently, actually, is that the world will think that they can pile on a strong woman consistently, especially a Black woman, consistently. They will think that you don't have an end point, of what you can deal and what you can handle with. And I think this season, that's a very big theme for Maze, is that, she's always doing something to help her friends, Lucifer, Chloe, Linda, trying to figure it out. And this season, she is being selfish, looking to take care of herself. And that's like a new thing, for her. And I think people make that same mistake with me. I think that people think I don't have an endpoint, that I'm always strong, that I'm always out, I always have a voice, I'm always outspoken. But what they don't see is that there are times where I question I stand on shaky ground, where I get hurt, but I don't always show it, because if I show it, it's going to come out and you're not going to like it, in that moment. And it may come out it's sometimes very confronting for people. Like I think it is for Maze, where you are, I remember, I know a situation recently where just someone I was very close to had never seen me kind of, I just had enough. And I couldn't, and you're trying to be a good mom, and you're trying to be a good wife, and you're trying to be a businesswoman, and you're trying to speak up and help people and do charity work, and, wearing so many hats, and you burn out. You get to a point where you just burn out. And then in life and in work, like women are made to work through that, work through a pregnancy, work through breastfeeding, trying to juggle that, work through, trying to figure out childcare, work through the flu, feeling sick, whatever, and it's like, no, I'm running on fumes now. Like I have nothing left to give. So she's taught me how to recently just say, no, I've had enough. I'm good. I'm going to protect my peace, and I'm good.
Yes, I love it. Congrats on that. I'm going to definitely take a note from your playbook on that, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we all can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, you're a mother. You get it, right, Rocky?
Yeah. All of us are mothers, and
you're all mothers.
Yep, we're all moms. I mean, Kristen is a dog mom, so she's a mom too.
That counts.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, technically,
no, but still, pets. They're like babies too. They're your babies too.
Right.
Well, yeah. As a mom, we have that protective spirit, and as you said, as a woman, period. even if you're not a bio mom, that it gets heavy. It does get heavy.
Yeah.
So
And I think we
I appreciate your
naturally,
transparency.
we can juggle so many things, but people think you can just keep 17 balls in the air and like be good, you know?
Right. We're human. We're allowed to breathe. We're allowed to take some time for ourselves. We're allowed to just be at peace. If I want to sit on my deck in the back all day and sunbathe, then damn it.
Yes, please. Right.
Boys, don't call me for anything. You're
Yeah.
so efficient right
Yep.
now. I'm good. So I definitely identify.
We
Yeah.
have to be off duty.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, Portia, if we wanted to note some of the people, shout out some of the people in the chat room. We've got people from Athens, from Peru.
Paris.
Hi, everyone.
Paris is in the house.
Yes, Paris, France is in the house. Let's
I
see.
love it. So Lesley, I wanted to talk a little bit about, as you said, you're in an interracial marriage.
Mm-hmm.
For you, raising a boy
Mm-hmm.
in this racial climate,
Mm-hmm.
share some thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I appreciate also how you have used your platform for activism and how you have clearly made it known your support of Biden and Harris, and how, you know, as a mom of a Black son, what are your thoughts, especially as a celebrity mom? That's an extra layer for you.
I think I will keep it real with you. I have family members, extended family members, who are supporters of the person in the White House right now. And that is incredibly difficult, because for us as a family, what that means is the things that affect us and hurt us and that affect me in particular, and the safety of our child for his generation, and for, for other kids like him, little Black boys, little Black girls, that's not enough for them. That's not enough to sway them to, at this point. And it's very difficult, he's obviously 3 years old, so I can't explain this to him right now, but having the conversations with him in books, we have all kinds of different books. He has he has dolls in all shades. He has books from around the world. He sees his grandfather. I mean, he recognizes color. He does. He saw a woman the other day and he said, "Oh, Mama, she looks like you." And the woman said, "What?" And he said, "She looks like you." And I said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "I'm from Jamaica." And I said, "Oh, well, his name's Kingston. You're Kingston, Jamaica." And they had this whole conversation. So I'm looking at him going, like, you're seeing the difference between your father and your mother. Of course you are. So I have a responsibility to, particularly if you may not necessarily live in America for the rest of your life. Obviously, I've immigrated around the world, but racism follows you wherever. Obviously, we've seen it with the marches. We've seen the world coming together for Black lives. But it's important that you are surrounded with different people, different family units. We don't our chosen family, our family and friends in our group here, his best friend Quincy, he is biracial too, Black mother, white father from the UK. It's important that he gets to see other children, and that he gets to have conversations about whatever it is that he's feeling. And we do it through the books. We show him, there's this great book, Baby Feminist, and it talks about, Michelle and Barack Obama, and he knows Obama. He sees him and he goes, Obama. Or, when Kamala got nominated, he said, "Mama, she looks like you." Wow. Like, I was looking at photos, and that for me, because she's biracial and multicultural. So it's right. Like, oh my gosh, you get this. You're 3, but you understand it, Yeah. But it is tough. I will say this, I've never been more aware of my skin color than when I've been here in the States, like where it's like
stark.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah.
It's and I was coming from New Zealand, so it's different there. the Maori and the Polynesian communities are celebrated there. It's part of their country. It's here. I 10 years ago, it was a very different story. And I also have to be very real too. And I say this to people, like, I've also benefited off of Hollywood rewarding a lighter hue, you know? So it's very important that I acknowledge, and I know that too. I had a director say to me, you'll do fine, because you'll do fine in America. And he felt so comfortable saying this to me. You'll do fine in America because you are not offensive on screen with a white man.
Wow.
And that's the truth though, unfortunately.
And that's like my third week in America.
Oh,
He broke you in right quick, didn't he? Yeah.
I'm getting like hot just like recalling that situation.
That's terrible.
So having these kinds of difficult conversations, my husband also, you know, we talk about privilege, we talk about white privilege, we talk about all kinds of things. We have very, very, very tough soul talks. And then it's like, you go off and do your work, and then let's reconnect again, and like, let's talk, like, you know, it's important. Then that conversation never stops happening, you know, as things come up, as things, you know, change, as situations come up. Obviously with the protests, it was very difficult, you know, speaking to my parents about their experiences during apartheid, and like my father, you know, recalling the first time he was beaten up, you know, by police, and what that feels like for him. So these are conversations I will have to carry on to my child eventually, and as hard as they are, because he has to know where half of him comes from, and then he has to be prepared for the country and the world that he lives in today.
Yes, absolutely.
well, Lesley, I wanted to jump in really quick because I know that this year has been challenging for all of us. And I think the only way that we've been able to keep going and moving forward is to kind of cherish the great times, the happy times, the times that we can look back on, and it brings a smile to our hearts. So I wanted to ask you, did you have any moments, you know, this year? I know 2020 has brought a lot, but have you had any moments that have like really been good to you for this year?
Yes, I connected and formed this incredible friendship with some of the Black actresses in the DC world. And when I talk about my tribe, you know, these incredible Anna Joe, Ozzy, Candace Patton, Vanessa Morgan, Megan Tandy, Nafessa Williams, Ashley Murray, you know, just being able to lean into each other in ways that I had never like truly had in this industry was beautiful. And of course, getting time with my son and my husband, which you never take for granted, obviously, considering the amount of death that, you know, was and is happening around us. And then on a professional note, I am in the process of hopefully selling a project that will take me back home to South Africa to tell an African, you know, story about my people, and to help give other South African artists an opportunity to shine and be employed. And so those are probably my three wins for 2020 so far.
Love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your new project?
I can't because you know what? It's not that I can't. Okay. I don't want to jinx it because we are in the pitch process. So I'm like, I just don't want to like jinx it. But it's basically like a love letter to my country, and to put it on to just celebrate South Africa like in a way that it hasn't been in this particular like time, a way that it hasn't been. And it's a woman about, I'm hoping Pearl will hoping I can lure Pearl because we're writing a role for her in it. And yeah, it's very special to me. I've had this idea for about 7 years.
Well, we can't wait to see it come to fruition, because we know it's
Thank you.
Definitely, yes.
Thank you. From your word mouth to God's ears. Thank you.
For sure.
Absolutely. Latrice.
So going into closing, yes, this year has been definitely a crazy year. What would be some little inspiring words, like 3 inspiring words, only 3, that you would tell someone, that a little girl like you who wants to be in your shoes?
3 inspiring words. Have faith in yourself, and your talents. I would say it's not really 3 words, but it's, do the work, be prepared to do the work. You're going to hear a lot of no's. Use that as fuel. A no is it's the best thing I can ever hear when someone tells me, no, you can't do it. No, you don't deserve that pay rise. No, you're not. I'm like, oh, bring it. Let's go. And I would say, like, reach out, particularly now, but like coming from a place of love in your work, in how you do business, in how you approach life, relationships, that's really important too, because sometimes we just get so caught up in the noise, the stuff, the acquisition of stuff. And what really matters in front of us is, like, life happens every single day. So, so don't forget to, like, look around, while you're focused on those goals.
So we're not going to close out yet. We still have 8 minutes. So we
okay.
We want to use all of the time that we do have with you, because we're definitely enjoying this girl talk. But I want to get into how do you define your success? Success is relative, right? So everyone has their own version of what success means to them. And we can tell by just your talking, your speaking, you're very inspirational, you're very motivational, you're very ambitious. You go after what you want. You shank people. You did say that. But how do you define success for you? What does it mean to you?
I made a deal with myself when I came here 10 years ago, and when I started acting 14 years ago, that if I never have to do anything than act for a living, that was me being successful. If I could have a life and act, that was me being successful. And obviously getting on a show like Lucifer, I got married in season 1, and then I was like, oh, that's amazing. Had my got pregnant in season 2. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Had my baby. Wow. Season 3, season 4, I bought a house. Season 5, I'm hoping I can, sell but in the midst of all of that, what defines me is that I'm able to share my blessings. So I'm able, I really would love to be able to buy my parents a house in New Zealand. That's something that I'm actively working towards. Right now, I'm putting a cousin who's kind of like my baby sister. I'm putting her through pilot school because she wants to fly Boeings for a living. And her and I are kind of the black sheep, or sort of like the weird, like no one flies planes in my family or is an actress. So we were kind of the weirdos in our family. And I see the same tenacity and ambition in her. And so I want to nurture that, and I want to water those flowers and watch it bloom. So really it's being able to share, and then obviously like my charity work, and it's really being able to share my successes, because I don't really need much in life. Do you know what I mean? I am blessed beyond. I have privilege that the little homeless kids back home in Cape Town don't have. And going home for me is like, it's like filling my well, I always just get grounded, and I'm brought back down to the fact that, like, Hollywood red carpets, $800 shoes, and that's not the real world for 99% of people. And to never forget that, to always stay, Annie from Greenhaven. Annie's like my nickname. Always be Annie from Greenhaven. Like, always remember her. Always go back to her.
Wow. Now, before we pass it over to Rocky, so we do want to definitely acknowledge the people that are watching on Facebook. Keisha Brown says, I love this, beautiful ladies, #1 Lucifer fan. Rashad Holloway Vincent, he says he loves Leslie on Lucifer, great show. And again, we have people watching from Peru. We have people watching from Paris. So welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Lesley-Ann Brandt. We're about to close out, but we do have one last question from Rocky before we go. Rocky, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll close out with because we really dealt with some heavy stuff today, and I appreciate your transparency, Lesley-Ann. So let's end with something fun.
Okay.
Imagine that you are going to a deserted island.
Yes.
You're going to be there for an indefinite amount of time. The weather is temperature controlled, so you don't have to worry about any condensation, rain or snow, anything like that.
Okay.
Name 3 things that you will take with you to that island.
Probably a knife.
You love to shank. You shanking somebody. Listen.
Girl.
Kill some fish.
Girl, I can fish. I can fish. You can cut some coconuts. Come on. It's a practical tool to take.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I would probably say a really good book.
Absolutely.
You know, and sunscreen, because if I'm going out, I'm not going out wrinkly. I'm gonna maintain it.
Yes to the
a knife, a book, and sunscreen. Okay.
Yes, I could burn the book, start a fire. Listen, I'm thinking ahead here, people.
Okay, I'm with it. I love it. You know, survival instincts. I love it.
Multifunctional.
Yes.
We love it.
Here we go.
Absolutely. Well, it's definitely been a pleasure, Leslie. We love you. We love your character. Maze, we love your spirit. Like, you are just
thank you.
Girl, yes. So we're definitely going to keep up with you, follow you. We're praying, we're going to call into fruition your script that will be accepted. You're taking it back to South Africa. You're going to
thank you.
You're going to encourage and uplift the youth. So kudos to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Wine Up. We'll definitely be in touch down the road. And if there's anything else that you would like to say to our audience, feel free, because they are definitely listening.
Really quick, it looks like Rosa would love a birthday shout out. Her birthday's tomorrow, and she's
happy birthday, Rosa. Have a blessed day. Many blessings. May you get what you need, not what you want, but what you need in life to get to where you want. And I just want to, first of all, thank you, beautiful, beautiful ladies, for this great opportunity to connect with you today, and to thank everyone for supporting our show, of course. We are the little show that could, canceled, saved on Netflix, on Fox, now on Netflix. We appreciate all the support, you know, and we're looking forward to getting back to work next month. And just for everyone to, you know, be safe out there, and please, please vote. Please register. Please vote.
Yes.
Vote. Make change.
Leslie, congrats on #1 with the show being #1.
Thank you. Yeah.
And can we just get a quick shout out to Rolling Out from you?
Yes, I'm going to shout out Rolling Out. These amazing women who have just blessed my afternoon with amazing, soulful conversation and some good laughs.
We love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And take care. We'll definitely be tuning into Lucifer. Had no idea it was that funny, but it really is funny. And
are you a new Lucifer?
I am a new Lucifer fan, but I love it. It's definitely very funny, actionable. I love it. All of it.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful evening, ladies.
You're welcome.
Be safe out there. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, is that your son?
That's my son screaming for dinner.
Bye.
Right on time.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Right on time.
So it is 9 o'clock. We have been getting dinged for not ending on time. Shout out to Munson Steed, who was watching, who's probably keeping time by his watch. So we're going to end it on a toast. Let's toast to a wonderful show. Let's toast to a wonderful week ahead. Let's toast to voting. Let's toast to arresting the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Let's toast to an incredible career that Chadwick Boseman had and the legacy that he left us. And I'm just gonna say Wakanda forever.
Right.
Forever. We will see you guys next week where we have who? Y'all know who we got next week?
M-I.
Crooked letter,
Humpback, I. Down in the valley. P-Valley, we back.
Give me a poll so I can practice some of her moves so I can go viral like she went.
Okay.
But don't know who we're talking about. Definitely talking about Mississippi from P-Valley. Shannon Thornton is her name. We will be speaking to her next week. And y'all make sure to tune in. Cheers.
Cheers.
I am your girl, Portia Monique. Rocky from Rocky's Reality, Latrice Delgado Macon, and Kristen from Candidly Kristen. We'll see you guys next week.